Welcome to today's edition of Engineering Success Profile Editions. Today we're talking to Simran Dhadda, who is a content developer and a presenter. And today she's going to be discussing her role, how she started. Hi Simran, and welcome to the show.
Hello Jamie, thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for your time. Can we start right at the beginning? What made you choose a career in engineering?
Honestly, I wish it was something more interesting. It's the same answer you hear from everybody. I like physics and I like maths, so right. That's what you do with it. If you'd asked me when I was a child, no, I have no idea what an engineer was, no interest in it. I wanted to be on TV, actually. That's the dream job I wanted, those fancy jobs that people seem to do. And they go to these glamorous parties. It's like, it's just what you watch in the sitcoms. But they have their own office and, didn't think twice about it. So, you realize as you get older, that's not a real thing. You're going to have to do a bit more tangible. And so just the classic route, did those subjects. They're the ones that I liked at A-level. And then you just sort of end up looking at what can you do with that? What can you do with these subjects? You have to piece that together. And they give you prospectuses at schools, I think. And then I thought, oh, okay, engineering, if you like maths, physics, creative stuff. And I was like, wow, how can you make a car from doing maths? How can you do that kind of thing? That's where the initial spark kind of kicked in. And I think that's really most people will feel is like, don't worry if you've never heard of engineering. Like no one has as a child, unless your parents or someone in your family works at it, or you're in an area that's very close to an engineering facility. You won't know what it is. You won't care. You'll probably just stumble. But it'll be the best decision ever.
So was your route into engineering traditional, the A-levels and then the university degree?
Again, super boring. Like you just follow what you're kind of told to do. If I was left to my own device, I would have just tried to like make it into like cartoons, TV, whatever, that kind of thing. But my mum's like, no, you got to do something like that's actually going to go somewhere. So she kind of was like my encourager to sort of stick to subjects that you like. Never going to force me to do something just for the sake of it. Like follow what you enjoy, but it's got to be tangible. It's got to kind of, can't just be something washing thing, or like if you're going to do it, like really do it. So also that's kind of why I think these sessions that we're doing now is very important. I think this is a nice message to get out there. Is not everybody will have that driving force of somebody telling them go in a direction. So that's what we're doing collectively here, is kind of pushing people like go in a direction that start at the start, follow the subject that you like and take it from there, really. So then from there went to uni, and we'll go into the rest now.
So now you're a content developer and a presenter, but your career actually started as a structural engineer. So can you tell us more about that journey of a structural engineer to becoming where you are today?
Absolutely. I think first of all, probably content developer is going to throw people off and know what the hell that is. So we will come to that at the later part, but it's nothing to do with engineering. Let's just say that it's completely separate. But it all started like most people will face now. I think the audience is probably a lot of students. It all started with that classic decision of like, where do you go now? You're in fourth year or your final year, and you just have that horrible crippling feeling of like I'm lost. It's normal. I want to reassure people it's normal. And I also want to tell people that final year is probably the worst year of your life, but it gets easier. Like honestly, that is like the worst. I remember juggling your final projects, these exams that are going to make or break your kind of grade. You got to find a job. Like it's immense pressure, but it's the makings of you. It's what's going to sort of get you to the next sort of stages. But relax, because now I'm older, I can see it's no big deal if you didn't get the job that time round. You got time on your side. You take a gap year. There's so many different routes out there. And also for people that don't go to uni, there's apprenticeships. Like there's so many different avenues to get to their final destination. Don't fixate on just that one route. And I'm guilty. I did. because I was like, it's what everyone's doing around me. You get caught in that stress of it.
You do, yeah.
Everyone's applying for jobs and you're like, oh my God, I need to get a job. Like you really cling on to this vision. And, you know, when you get the job, I can't wait to tell you this part of the story. I can't wait to tell you that, because you'll wonder, like, why on earth was I so desperate to get there? Working life, like I miss being a student. So, you know, it's a journey. Follow what you're interested in. So I did mechanical engineering, and I was sort of set on like maybe Formula One, maybe going to that. A lot of my projects were on that. But honestly, when I looked at the different grad programs that were out there, like Airbus stood out to me a lot. It was very varied program. So even though you start in structures engineering, you can rotate around different departments in testing, materials, like whatever you want to do. There's a lot out there. It's a huge international company. You get to travel, and you get half-day Friday. So these things, and I was like, I like this one, you know. And when I went to the interview there, I actually really enjoyed it. Like I forgot it was an interview. I just totally felt relaxed. The people were really fun, and these are the kind of vibes that you follow. Like there is no set path. You just follow where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you can be yourself and you're enjoying yourself. So that was the start of that chapter. Got the job there, and I hate to say it, but I was not happy when I first started.
Right, okay.
I was like, well, this kind of sucks. Like, so again, key message to people is, you know, you fixate on getting that job, you fixate on getting to that place. And when you get there, don't be upset if you're not feeling what you think you'd be feeling. It's a very big transition going from uni to work. It's a completely new ball game. You know, you've gone from being the top at uni, you're in control of all your projects, you've learned stuff, like it's really, really intense, to suddenly now you are the donkey. Like you've started a company, you're at the bottom of the bottom. You want to be, you think you're so much more, you know, you think you know a lot more. You're like, why am I doing this? Like, I've worked so hard for like 4 years, I should be like running the company. Like, no, okay. You're exactly where you need to be, and exactly the point that you need to be in, you know. We all want to be like on the heavyweights, but you do not walk into a gym and go straight to like the big start small, you know. And that's the key lesson I want to say to everyone, is hold on to that, is that you have to, it's a long game. You've got like, I don't know, 60 years of your career, so understand that it's a process. So I started out in engineering, did rotations, got my placement abroad, which was what I wanted it all for. I went to JetBlue in New York. So you can go to an airline. One of the placements, you get to go work with a customer so that you can see the aircraft in operation, and you can learn like all the things and come back and be a better engineer. And honestly, it changed my life, that placement, because it kind of was like the lifestyle I dreamed of in the movies, like office in New York, you know, so glamorous. And I saw all the different divisions that make up a big company, because at Airbus in Filton, it's just the engineering sort of world. Whereas here I'm seeing like head office, I'm seeing marketing for the first time, I'm seeing all these things, and I'm like, wow, there's a whole world out there. And also seeing the aircraft like in operation, you have this like, wow, these are all the calculations and stuff coming to life. I'm seeing it, like, you know, I'm seeing the happiness it's bringing people like me traveling, like you see what you're doing it all for. Like, I love travel. It's so glamorous. It's so cool. And it just makes life exciting. So this really brought it to life for me, and made me realize I want more kind of customer facing like roles. Like, I'm not sure I fit the kind of conventional engineering thing. So this is another sort of message that I'm quite open when I say, like, look, I'm an engineer. I studied it. I did it. But there's different areas where you can use your skills. And don't feel bad if it's not in the conventional one that you thought you would be. So for me, I did not want to be like doing stress calculations and that kind of stuff. There is so much more that you can do with your skills. So for me, it was marketing. I was like, oh my God, I'm an extrovert. I love to be around people. I love to kind of, you know, put stories together and put pictures and stuff together. Like, how can I do more of this? So, you know, that's another story in itself of how I got to marketing. But I got there. After the grad program finished, I moved to France, to Toulouse, which is where Airbus head office is. And that was really the start of, like, you know, that's kind of like, a grad program is great because it's almost like an extension of uni. But once it's over, like, you are really a real adult now. Like, you're in the real world, you're a real person, And now, you know, now you look at the grads and you're like, you're the donkeys, and I can give you
yeah.
Interesting kind of process. So yeah, I moved to Toulouse, and I worked in marketing. I worked for the chief commercial officer, so I was really like in at the deep end, like really time to learn fast and to, you know, get out there, get all that exposure. And it was great. Like, this has been the best kind of step in my life that really opened the world up to me, because aviation is a global business. So, you know, there was tons of travel. I then moved into marketing events. So that's what like my specialism is, because I've always been more of a creative. I'm not so much an analytical person. So another key message to say to anyone watching now, and they're not sure like what this all means, like every single company will have a marketing division. So that means every single engineering company will have this division in it. So you as an engineer are in an optimum position, because if you have the technical knowledge and the kind of personality to get that across, you know, you found a really good sort of role here. And I'd say like 70 to 80% of the people that worked in marketing are from an engineering background. So it's quite a misconception that you need to be, you know, have a business degree and all that. Like, sure, that can help in some sort of areas. But for a lot of it, it's so analytical. Like, to sell an aircraft, you need to know it. You need to know what it's capable of doing. You need to know those technicalities. So this is where I realized, like, wow, you know, people don't really get that that is an extension of engineering, but in a completely different setting. Like, I got what I dreamed of in the movies. Like, I'm traveling around, I'm going to these special events, to these conferences, like you're meeting airlines all around the world, and you're constantly learning. You know, the more customers you meet, the more you understand like business needs varying around the world and so on. So I'm like, it's a dream come true. I have a question for you, Jamie.
Yes.
What happens when you get what you wanted, when you get your dream come true? What happens then, in your opinion, in your expertise?
Well, you've got to keep growing, haven't you? So you always want something more. That would be what I would say. When you've got to your destination, when you've got to point B, there's always that becomes point A, and you have another point B.
That is exactly what happens. Is when you get everything you ever wanted, it's not the end of the story. It's not happily ever after. It's like, oh, cool, I've got it. I think I want something else. I think I want to move to something more. Like, what more can I sort of do? And this is what started sort of happening to me. Is you love the dream, always love it when you have it, but you also know that you need to keep moving. People need to keep moving. Never stay still until you're at that point in your life where stillness is good. But while you're kind of moving, keep moving. And for me, now there are some signs of things. This is what I want to point out to some people. This is what will happen. It might or might not happen to some people. Is you'll get an idea come to you. And this might start as a little seedling, and it might be something in your head that you'll think, wouldn't it be cool if there was something like this out there? You know, you'll have a seed. And for me, the seed was, I thought, it's so cool, like what I'm doing, my job, I love it. Why doesn't anyone why don't I ever see any like shows like this on TV? This is real life excitement, you know. I've seen so many of these people, they're always like working in like these fictitious jobs that I had no idea what they were. Advertising executive at some PR company. Like, it's always something very generic. I was like, why can't it be something that's actually really like underrated and you don't see it? And this idea was in my head, and I'm traveling and I'm always thinking of it as like a TV show, something that I would sit and watch. I'm sitting there, as most ideas start out, you know, having a few drinks with my friends, and I'm like, guys, wouldn't this be a cool like show? And you know, people are like, yeah, I always thought that as well, you know. And I actually thought about it and like had a little think of how I'd make it, but I didn't really know, so kind of just, you know, forget about it. I'm like, but what if it was a show? You know. Now, this is what's going to happen to some people out there, a handful of people, is you will get that idea. Now, it is your choice if you want to work on that idea, like how much time you want to give to it, how much you care about it. You could be like my friend that thought, yeah, it's cool. You might spend one weekend like sketching it out, like, oh, I'd make a script, I'd have these characters, you know, and you'll kind of be like, okay, other commitments will get in the way, life will happen, and that idea will get pushed aside as you continue to develop other things. You know, it's just what happens. You can't give your time to everything. So that's option one. Then the idea will kind of die. Option two is this, I hate to say it, my friends, is that it will consume you. This idea becomes more than a thought. Every day it's growing bigger and bigger in your head. And there will come a point where it's starting to become actual real. Like to you, you think it's real. if this happens to you, if anyone out there is suffering these symptoms of like you can't sleep at night, you're thinking about it, or when you're working on it, you wish you were working more on it and that you're distracted.
Yeah.
If you, oh, I'm sorry, my friend, but you have the bug, the entrepreneur bug, which means that it's your duty, you're obliged to go and follow that idea.
Yeah.
So you can guess which path I chose. I was like, I gotta do it. Like, this is ticking in me. Like, I love my job, I love what I'm doing, but I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready for a bit of change. I'm still like young enough to have that little bit of energy in me to kind of give it that go and get out there and sort of try it, because I don't want to see someone else make it. I don't want to see somebody else that did follow through with it, and I don't want to see it die either. So I'm like, okay, I've got to do this. But you have to also, like, people think that these decisions happen overnight. No, like, this is where your engineering mindset comes in. You got to do the calculations. Okay, how much is it going to cost me? How much do I need to save? How am I going to sustain myself for however long? Like, you know, you have to treat it as a project. It's not just willing. This is a real life project that's going to put your skills to the test. You're your own accountant, project planner, marketing, like business development, testing. You are everything, and you need to do these calculations. And I thoroughly did this before, and I weighed it up, and I was like, I gotta do it. Like, you know, I'm gonna do it. It's scary, it's exciting, but I want to know that I did it. So, you know, made the jump, and here I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're involved in our Ingenious World with other amazing engineers, Yuande, Nikkei, Anne-Marie and Larissa. It's a YouTube channel which tells engineering and technology stories. Can you tell us how you all came about and how the idea came about to do this?
Wow. So I've told you the nice part of the story, if you like, and they all lived happily ever after. Like, we've left it at that point. You know, that was a nice portion of the story where hard work equated to a good career. It was growth. It was going everywhere you want. Okay. Yeah. The next part I call the demise of Simi. The chapter is called Going Rogue. Now, you do these podcast sessions, which we're going to do a separate podcast, and in that, I think that we're going to go into what really happened, the real, you know, that like, it's going to be messy. That's going to be like after dark session, like get a drink, grab a whiskey, grab a beer, like that. That's for that. But I'm going to cut that part of the story short to the nicer part again, where things picked up, because there's a lot of how this journey came about, you know, from career to building up your own thing. But point is, after a very, very long time of working on my own idea, a really long time, and a lot of knockbacks, a lot of rejections, a lot of, you know, screwing up the piece of paper and drawing like a new way of doing things, a lot of that. After a year of doing this on my own, I eventually met Yuande. Our paths crossed, and she, like, this is Jamie's badge of honor. Like, you've interviewed all of us, so to be here part of this, I feel super privileged. Like, we could be like Charlie's Angels, like Jamie's Angels. You know us all, you've seen us all, kind of thing. And Yuande is a very special person. She is extremely positive. And I met up with her when I was possibly at my lowest point, because the project is just going nowhere. And sort of felt, you know, when I'm talking to her, I've just met her, I don't really know her, but I'm bearing my soul to her. I'm like, I wanted to make a show about engineering, but it really, like, is going nowhere. And she's just like, okay, we're gonna do this, don't worry. I'm like, what? And she was working, like, she had an idea to do something quite similar. So mine was more like a sitcom, but hers is more kind of like a real life documentary sort of way of doing it. So we thought, okay, there's something here, like, you know, we both believe this, we both share the same vision. And that was the most important thing, is that we both believe that engineering needs to be out there, and there's a fun way of doing it. She's like, okay, let's do this, let's, you know, join forces. She said she's already got some cool people that I need to meet. And I'm like, okay, wow. She's like, I know these really cool, like, you know, engineers, like, honestly, I believe it. And unfortunately, this all happened last year. So at the beginning of last year, so in like February sort of time, I think I met up with her. We were planning to do a team meet up all together, but then big old corona came along
yeah,
and kind of just halted a lot of plans and the ways of doing things. Like, you know, most people, we had to switch to virtual.
yeah.
So getting to know everyone has been only online, like only through Zoom stuff and everything. So it's been a lot harder and slowed down the process, I'd say, of sort of figuring out how we're going to make a show. But the heartbeat of it all is that we all share the vision of getting it out there, you know, making this profession look cool, something that you're already doing so fabulously, Jamie, that you know, the cause, as we said, that we all share that vision, that we believe this is something that can really impact people's lives, but we want to do it in a fun way, you know, we want to make it fun. So that's like, you know, we've started making our own YouTube videos, and it's nothing big. This is what we were chatting about before, is that you have to realize with a project like this is when you start, the start is always pretty basic, you know, it's not going to be the end product. It's just kind of getting yourself out there, thinking about it. So if you fancy a laugh, you want to look at our videos, I've already written it down. You can check out our YouTube channel. You can check
fantastic.
It's going to document everything. Have a little look, see what you think. You know, we love to keep in touch with people and hear from people. If they, you know, we like to involve people. We did a work experience event last year, virtual one that you were a part of. People giving their time, you know, so we care, we're out there, we're present, and we want to involve more people however we can. So reach out to us, and
we'll put some links as well when we're doing the promotion. We'll put links in and stuff. So for you, what's the most, and I'm sure there's plenty, but what's the most challenging part of what you're doing now?
I love this question, because it's like there's one big one, which is dealing with rejection. Like, this is a huge part, which in my lovely linear part of life before, I don't think I experienced as much of this, because it's quite a straightforward path that a lot of people will follow, you know, getting a job, getting this. If you don't get that, you kind of apply for another similar thing. It's quite all laid out for you. It's a normal sort of path. And I was quite lucky that what I applied for I sort of got, so I never experienced this sort of feeling of like rejection before. One of my friends said that to me. He's like, "Oh my God, you've never been like really rejected, have you?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah, you know, it's it's going to happen a lot." I was like, how do you deal with it? And he's like, "You take more of it. You take as much as you can. It's almost like chicken pox or something. Get it when you're younger, get it when you're a kid, so you get kind of more like, when you're older, it won't affect you as badly." So for anyone out there that's, you know, especially at this time, we really realize that with the pandemic affecting people's work experiences, like, don't worry, don't feel bad. This is great for you going through this process of like things not going your way, things not working out how you want them to, because you're going to learn to be resourceful. You're going to learn to navigate around it. Like, challenges, like setbacks, all these things are going to happen in life, but you need to learn how to deal with it. And it's so much better to do it when you're young. So much more, you know, it really does get harder as you get older, because you feel like, oh, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, just kind of, I don't want to say embrace it, because when you're feeling it, no, you're not. Like, oh, thank you for this rejection. You know, it's gonna hurt. You go bash the drums, you go do what you needed to get it out. Like, you go feel it and deal with those kind of feelings. So for me, that has been the most like hardest part of this journey, is accepting that. But it's also like how you learn. So it had to happen for you to kind of get to where you need to be, if you like.
Yeah, that's right. So on the flip side, what's the most rewarding part of what you're doing?
It's when something like clicks, you know, it's when little things happen, little indicators of progress. And I think that was my mistake going into this, is that I thought, with that kind of linear engineering hat on, that this is going to be a straightforward project. Like, in a year I'll be done, I'll be a superstar in no time. Like, it's not going to be one big major success. You've got to go on this journey knowing that like there's going to be little things that happen, and that's what will drive me and keep me going. And also seeing like positive people, meeting people is a huge reward. Is when you have those chats and a chat leads to something like this. Jamie, this is a reward for me right now. Like, when I already said this, like, I'm going to call you if I'm ever down, because you talk to people that bring positivity. That is the most like rewarding thing in life, I would say, is to have somebody that can sort of, you know, show you that it's okay, make you feel like you're on the right track, don't worry, you know. That big thing. And when we saw the impact that the work experience event had, that made me realize, like, that's what we're doing it all for. Like, seeing the effect of how many people out there actually do want to, like, get into this profession.
That's right.
And that we can help be that for them, you know. We can be that push. Like I said, my mum, for me, was my push, like, you know, keep going, kid. Not has that. So we want to be that for everyone. If there's anyone watching this now that needs that kick up the bum, I think that's what we're all here for, is to be like, keep going, because it will get you there. You just have to hold on. So that is really the most rewarding thing, is just seeing somebody feel motivated and somebody feel positive makes us feel positive, and it's just a wonderful cycle. So it's great.
So what skills do you think are needed to have a career in engineering? So
I'm not even going to say maths, because I don't even think that's a thing. I think, you know, it can help you to an extent, but truly, I think passion is a very big one. I think whatever you go into, you need to have that loose interest. You don't need to be a diehard fan that knows every single thing, you know. You just need to have an interest. I think when you have an interest, you can follow that, you can explore that. And being a calm, relaxed person that's, you know, you don't want that stressy kind of person. You want someone that's got just able to deal with things. Sort of be around. A personable person is what we were sort of talking about, is don't feel that you need to be this robot that's just there to churn out calculations. Like, be yourself, be a productive self, you know, be the best version of you. And honestly, I think the rest you can learn. You can learn. If somebody's that job you need to do, calculations you need to do this, like, you'll learn it. But you've got to have that mentality that you want to learn it, that you want to be, and that you want, people want to be around you and invest that time in you. So just, you know, and I think you bring out the best in that if you're just feeling chilled, relaxed, and positive. Really just be positive.
So what would your advice be to a future engineer?
Oh, my advice. Follow your passion. It's as simple as that. Is just follow what you like doing. Don't worry about what it is that you think it should be, or what the expectations are, or, like, you know, I want to be the head engineer at this. Just follow what you like doing, because you would be surprised where it will take you. Like, for me, if you'd have told me this like 10 years ago or whatever, I'd be like, what? I actually did make it to, like, the glamorous thing, doing engineering. Like, the two don't compute. It makes no sense. So you have to just follow your little steps, your little life indicators that will take you sort of, I like this, I like that, and just go with the flow. Don't worry yourself too much, especially while you're sort of at the sort of, I would say, beginning of the journey. You know, if you're at uni right now, like, just do not stress. There is no clear path. Just follow what you've got a loose interest in, and just go with that. And also, don't worry if you haven't found that, because some people might be sitting there thinking, I don't have this passion. Like, I don't feel this way. I just feel like it's sort of a job's a job. I'm not really feeling it. Like, don't worry. It just means you haven't found it yet.
That's
you haven't found thing, and it just means good for you. You're going to keep looking, you know, and it's going to come. It can come in any area of your life. So don't feel fixated that job is the only thing. You could have so many other things. Like, it's all about balance. Really, it's all about finding the things that make you feel like you, the best version of you, that brings positivity and stuff in everybody. Oh, and I would say Excel. Excel's a pretty useful thing. If I'm talking about the practical side of a job, one piece of advice I'll give anyone out there right now is, like, learn Excel. Like, what job you go into in life, even in your personal, like, planning, like, people plan weddings using Excel, like, use Excel. So if you got a bit of time on your hands and that's not what you're good at, get learning.
Do it,
like, I used to get told that a lot. Like, I learn it.
So finally, we know the importance of promoting engineering for young people, obviously, with you doing what you're doing. But what's your message to young people to attract them into engineering?
Right. So I wrote a few things just because I had to think about this, because, like, I don't want to just tell people, you know, like, generic answers, but truthfully speaking, like, to get anybody to attract them here, like, it really is an exciting profession. Like, I hope that I can sort of, my story will make you just see how far in the world it can take you. Like, it's a passport almost that can take you to anywhere you wish to go in the world. anything you wish to do, it can take you there. Even to outer space, you know, like seriously, it's such an exciting profession that there's so much going on, and in any different area. I hope that's what I really want to highlight to you, is that you can really do anything with this degree. But you know, you have to have that drive, you have to have that passion, you have to work hard, but have fun. Don't like see things as something that, you know, you're working endlessly for. Have a fun, balanced life, and just go for it. Like, if you want to do it, whatever you do it wholeheartedly, and just go for it.
Simran, that's it. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Jamie. It's been wonderful morning. I feel positive already.